broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, AfterBuzzers, and welcome to the after show for Blood and Oil, Episode 6, Convergence.
Feeling this, grooving.
Yeah, I like this. I heard it on the radio, and I thought of Blood and Oil.
Well, they've played El King before on the show, so it brings us there.
Yeah, part of the theme of it all. All right, let's talk about the show. I'm your host, Grant Rutter, and alongside me, we have a panel here to discuss all the juicy details of tonight's show.
Hey guys, Lauren Salaun here. You can find me on Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram at Lauren Salaun.
Yay, and you can find me, Howard III, at Twitter and Instagram. On Twitter and Instagram at Howard III. That's Howard 3RD.
Sounds good. All right, let's talk about these people.
Yeah.
This episode really captured our attention. There were a lot of moments where I feel like we're into it.
Oh, yeah. Major drama.
Yeah. So let's start off on the lighter side of the episode. Although maybe not so light for AJ because he just wants to see his son. But we saw Villainous is back and she's meeting publicly but under the radar with AJ. I kind of like this woman. I kind of like her style a little bit. I don't understand what the whole deal is, but I don't know. She captures my attention. So what did you think?
I think she's so cheesy in her one-liners, and it's just, and this has been one of my, I guess, criticisms of the show, I think, so far, is that some of the writing can be a little cheesy.
The dialogue?
The dialogue, yeah, definitely. And I think mainly with, the bad guy lines, with Gary and Van Ness, some of these lines they say are such stereotypical bad guy things.
Yeah.
Well, you'll be sorry. Don't we all want to see our kids grow up one day? That was what she said to AJ, which, you're threatening to hurt his child, but it's so cliche sounding, So I think she's kind of lame.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think she should just get another job. I'm kind of low-key tired of her.
And that's the other thing. I don't get where is we don't know where she's coming from, right?
No.
Who she works for.
We need a little more backstory off of her.
Yeah.
I need a little more.
Because she's just kind of bugging me.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you so scared?
Isn't she linked up with Saudi Arabian government?
Yes. Something going on in Saudi Arabia. I don't know if we know who in Saudi Arabia is behind it all.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, she was pissed. She didn't have the geo charts that she was looking for, the geo maps, and she called him out about it. And again, she gave him a 36-hour window to get the real stuff to her. And so we saw that AJ now had to kind of work. She was kind of forced to work with Lacey. And they were back in the same orbit. I don't know, those two don't really do too much for me. It's a little too manufactured.
Yeah.
Well, and I also, if we go back to Van Ness a little bit, when AJ brings her the new map, that seemed so easy. It seemed like she bought it so easy. She's like, well, you already tried to trick me once, and it was an honest mistake. Okay, this one's probably, you're right.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Good work, son. Okay, see ya.
Right.
I feel like that was a little too, she let him off the hook pretty easy there.
Yeah, she's cheesy. I don't know, but back to AJ and Lacey. I actually really like them together, but it's a little bit too much back and forth for me too. It's kind of okay, I want them to be together, but then I don't, and then AJ dropping that secret bombshell on him about his wife, and I was just you know what, any chance I had of just rooting for you guys is now out the window, now that I know he's married, and now divorce is too complicated, as he would say. But come on, I'm not buying all that.
I'm not invested in them at all.
Really?
I'm just not. I don't care.
In the beginning, but now...
Well, and also it seemed like they, yes, had an attraction and flirtation with one another. They made out, all that stuff. Fine. That's great. I liked that tension and chemistry. I thought it worked well together. But it feels like it went a little too far too fast. Not too far too fast, but it doesn't seem like it's that serious as a viewer for us, and they are seeming like it's a really big, real thing, you know? When she's like, oh, and I fell for a liar. I'm like, you guys made out once, twice maybe, you know? And he's like, about his wife, she's not you. You don't even know each other that well. Again, how are you in love or whatever? And you're not.
That goes back to the dialogue that you were talking about too. It's like, oh,
yeah. So it's a little like forced. I feel like I like their attraction and I like them making out and all that, but you guys aren't in love yet, so don't try and like force that on the situation.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. That's how I feel.
Well, let's talk briefly about Carla and Hap and Jules, and we can get into like more than briefly. We can get into the whole story. Of course, they. I believe you asked me like, why are these people at the hospital with Cody there?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, what did they just like hear about it? It's not like it's community news or anything. It just happened. How did they show up so quickly to the hospital?
I mean, I could see like sending a gift, sending flowers, maybe coming to like visit like a week after the accident, like if you really wanted to, but to be like right there, Johnny on the spot, Dave, like what is in it for them?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's just really Hap in his evil ways. Like when I saw him at the hospital, I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. He's gonna try to do something, you know, because it's just like, why? Like, Carla, why are you there with your husband? I agree with you about sending the gift, though. They can just send flowers and call it a day, but whatever.
Yeah, it seemed a little weird. And I like that Hap's like, oh, you know, putting, you know, I may be a son of a bitch in business, but family is super important. So I'm like, you know, this is serious. This is real life. We can put that aside for now, sort of thing. And flies in the best doctor. Like, that's great. I appreciate him for doing that. And I think it's good that Billy appreciates him for doing that too, but it did seem like so random for them to be there, but you know, with the storylines and how the plot's going, they have to like cross paths so many times, and so it just seemed too convenient, which I think is something we keep seeing.
Right. Well, Carla showed up with some donuts and whatever it was, whatever she had.
Yeah.
And what did she say? She dropped a line because Jules was in earshot. What did she say? She said, I always know what you want. Yeah. I kind of like that. I like that.
He's like, oh, perfect. Just what I need, or just what I wanted. And she's like, I always know what you want. Dun dun.
I like because it's like soapy goodness. It goes back to the dialogue, but that we were goofing on. But also, like, you know, I like it. She's slick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
So let's move on and talk about the scene where Carla got all made up, and we thought it was for her husband, but as many women get all dolled up, it's usually for other women.
Yeah.
And this was an intimidating factor, and I liked this.
I loved seeing that scene because I think we've talked about how we've been wanting to see more Carla, and Carla, like, you know, come out and be this like force that we know she's gonna be, and we saw a bit of that tonight, and especially with her trying on these different outfits and stuff, and I'm like, come on, Carla, you're so uptight, let's see some sass, whatever you're getting ready for. And she goes with that like tight leather situation. I'm like, that was the right one.
I like that they reminded us tonight that she was a model, because that was lost on me. Like, I forgot about that part. But I like that they reference, like, I want more. I'm like hungry for more backstory on the show. It's all very current. What just happened? Who just crossed who? You know, it's like there's not too much to really pull from the past, but as we'll get to in our predictions, there's a blast from the past coming into Hap's life, which will bring a lot of that. So, like, I'm definitely looking forward to that portion coming up. But meanwhile, Carla made a visit to a very important business meeting, as she put it.
Yes.
And she just opened that door, and, you know, she had the moment with Jules that we were waiting for, and she's like, look, you need to does he know it's over? You need to really end it with my husband.
Yeah.
And she didn't enjoy that cheap wine. Did you catch that?
I know. Yeah. I sure did.
I loved it. I mean, they're on very different levels, Carla and Jules. And I like both of them a lot. I really like their characters. And I love how Carla like went in there and is like so intimidating. And Jules is just like, holy crap, okay, what's going on? And is like, yeah, okay, you know, he used to love me sort of thing and all that. Like basically agrees to end it because Carla is like, you know, I'll tell Wick, basically. She's like, oh, you wouldn't? She's like, yeah, I would. I don't care that much about
I'll do it
that
over
little
breakfast. I'll find time.
Yeah, like, she's like, it will destroy him. Like, yeah, girl. Like, I feel bad for Wick. But, oh, I loved that scene.
Well, they've really redeemed Wick in my eyes. Just like these last few scenes that they gave him with like all of his like guilt. He's a different character to me than he was how he was introduced.
Yes, definitely. And I think we talked about that a little bit last week, how he's getting so much more depth with his remorse and, you know, just all these feelings happening. And we're seeing the character go so much further than just that one-sided, like, cocky punk that we saw in the first few episodes.
I have a lot more empathy for him now than I ever thought. I just thought he was going to be like the resident bad boy of the show, you know, but no, he's probably one of the more dimensional characters on the canvas.
Yeah. I think Wick's come a very long way. I really like him now. Like, I like how his character is just evolving and him second guessing. And also, speaking of Wick, I loved how Carla threw in how she was going to tell Wick. Like, I thought that was such a smooth move right there when Jules was like, you won't tell Wick, will you? Oh, I just might, boo. You know?
She's like, yeah, I'd do it.
Exactly. Like, oh, I could do it over dinner. Oh, we like lunch. I was like, yes, Carla. I was living for that when she did all of that.
Did you feel bad for Jules at all in that moment?
No.
Me neither.
Because
I don't care if she felt bad or what. I was just glad to have the scene.
I like Jules a lot. I mean, I think deep down she's a good person, and I think, you know, I like her character, but you know, when you're being the other woman, like, you're crossing into that territory where shit could hit the fan in real serious ways, and so you got, like, sorry. Those are the consequences of what you're doing. Don't feel too bad for her.
Yeah. She didn't put up a front. She didn't really back down. She didn't even look too scared. Like, I don't know. If I had someone like Carla coming for me, I'd probably be like quickly reevaluate. But no, she just owned up to it really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, what could she really do? I mean, in that moment, it's kind of like, well, my cover is blown. Like, the wife is here. I just say everything.
I do like how she's like testing the waters when Carla first came in. She's like, "Does he still love you?" And she's like, "Oh, who?"
I know.
What are you talking about? You know, like how if you're trying to see if someone knows something that they shouldn't know, you like answer really vaguely initially. Like, you tell me what you think you know, and then I'll verify it.
I like that she like walked around. She like traipsed around Jules' like apartment, those dirty windows, just gross. And she's like, "Yeah, you've done good in business," and she's just kind of looking over
at her lotions and perfume and all that.
I like it. I like that she just came in there with just so much judgment.
Yeah, she was not playing. I knew she wasn't going to play when she put that leather dress. I was like, as soon as she put it on, I said, "Oh, she's gonna go meet Jules." Like, I knew it.
Oh yeah.
See, I wasn't thinking long term like that. Like, I was thinking like, oh, she's gonna like try to seduce her husband and be like, I am the one, and then put Jules on the back burner. But no. Like, these women, they get dressed up for the other women.
Right, I too thought she was doing it for Hap to be like, it's time to go out. We're going to have like a fun night on the town or something like that. But she was prepping for battle.
Yes. I knew, because I was like, who's going to wear leather in the daytime like that? Like, especially, I don't know if it's hot, but still like, she's got to go meet her. She wants to set a tone.
We love that character. I love that Amber.
Yeah.
She's cool.
Please,
she's
Amber.
Cool.
Yes. So let's talk about Jules had a moment where she found that, or it reappeared. We don't know. It was just that flower that she threw out that Hap got her from the spa and wherever they were, Reno, or were they?
Big Sur.
Yeah,
a little different than Reno.
Yeah, a little different. All right, thank you. Yeah, so we all saw her throw this out, and we all saw Cody spot it in the trash. So I don't know. Maybe she's just like getting up in the middle of the night and just grabbing it for memories. I don't get it.
How the heck did it get back out and put on the counter like that?
Yeah, it's like it was like displayed on the counter too.
Because based on what we see from Jules and Hap meeting up later, you know, oh, we have to be more careful. Strip, here we go.
Yes.
You know, maybe after Carla came over, Jules kind of hatched that little plan, was like, okay, I'm not going to end it, but we're going to have to be like, because I want him still. And then she like went and dug through the trash and was like looking at it and thinking about him. I don't know.
Well, yeah, but then she smashed on the floor.
Yeah, but
it was like, here, is she into him? Is she not? Is she going to pursue him? But
continuity mistake. Why was that thing on the counter? Because we already saw it go into the trash.
Yeah. But this girl made her decision.
Yeah.
And she dropped that coat or whatever it was, the dress. She
I know.
Onto the dress. I mean, Hap's lucky guy, 2 beautiful women, 2 different flavors too.
Very different.
Very different.
I know.
He doesn't really have a type, I guess, because even the second war, one of the wives that we're gonna see is is that's a redhead chick.
I know. So I know.
He's into all
Hap
kinds.
Likes it. Everything.
I'm saying.
I love it.
But even Carla mentioned, like, he has a very short attention span. She knows what she's in for. She knows.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Carla's such a smart businesswoman. I mean, I think this is just all about business. It's gonna lead up into something. I mean, I'll save that prediction for later, but...
Well, Jules also spotted very, very easily, just moving a pair of jeans, that the ski mask that was used weeks ago now is just hanging out in her house.
Right there on a shelf, easily accessible. Like, did Wick put that there recently, I wonder? You know... It's just a little too easy. Wick we've seen is kind of a dummy.
Yeah.
So I can see him just being like, oh, I'll just put that there and it'll be okay.
If that was a plant, you know, like if it was like planted to try to like set somebody up, I could get into it. But we know that's not the case. We know that is not an intentional plant. But I was hoping that it would, because it'd be a little bit more smart.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, that should have been burned. I mean, a ski mask like that could easily be destroyed, ruined, just easily lost, you know. But to put in somebody else's house is really stupid.
Yeah. Okay, if you're gonna do something like that and you've got evidence left over, every single time, burn it.
I know.
Burn it.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't do things like they're doing, but I feel like I would be a pretty good criminal, because like, you don't keep that thing around. Burn it.
Exactly.
Sheesh.
Like, I'm just so mad that it was just so easy. She was just, oh, let me go in the room, look to my right. Ski mask? Yes, I'll take it. Oh my gosh, Hap, why?
Yeah.
I mean, Wick, why? Like, really?
Shoot, if I like buy more pairs of shoes than I feel like I'm supposed to, and I like get rid of those boxes so my husband doesn't see them. I'm like, we're gonna leave the box in the trunk until tomorrow when he's not home, and then I sneak him into the house and then get that box out of there. You know, like if you did something worse than that, you know, maybe cover your steps a little bit better.
Yes.
For real.
Well, she made her move, and I'm really interested to see where this goes, especially now that she's equipped with this information about Wick.
Yeah.
She put everything together, so we shall see. Well, meanwhile, we had predictions last week regarding Cody's baby.
Yes.
Yep.
And I said that baby's gone. Sorry, kids, but you guys thought, you know, there was a chance. And we all were under the impression.
I thought that we would keep the baby. I thought it would be too severe to go down that path of losing the baby also.
See, I was on the same page. I was like, why would they get rid of the baby? Like, to me, it just didn't make sense. But
yeah, well, and we were kind of all right.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the initial blow, they're like, they still have the baby. We're like, oh, see?
Yeah.
And then, psych.
I just knew it would set up more heightened jeopardy if the baby was, you know, no longer alive. Like, you know, it was just set like a whole new level of drama.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I was curious to see where they were going to go with it. And so they kind of cushioned the blow a little bit by having, you know, the baby not make it in a dramatic twist. But yeah, Cody had a rough episode this week. And let's talk briefly about that fool Gary, probably the biggest screw up on TV. That's saying something.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of folks in chat. Jessica and Felicia right now talking a lot, and Jessica initially was like, Gary is just stupid.
Yeah.
I agree. I can't stand Gary.
We agree over here.
Yeah, that guy's a fool. He's such a screw up. He now released, well, he didn't release it, but he like grabbed his phone. I wish it was this easy to play a recording or something. I wish it was that easy to check my email.
Yeah, and for him, he's such a dummy too. And he's like, oh, well, psych, I recorded our conversation. Yeah, the heck you did. You don't know how to do that, Gary Laframboise.
And it's like perfectly set to like the exact sound bite, the timing is perfect. There's no deciphering. It's like, no, it's like full exposition. I am responsible. No, you are responsible. No, we both are responsible for what happened. Okay, very good.
He's such a dummy. That one scene when he got me, when he was like, oh my gosh, what did he say? He said, oh, it's supposed to be such a quick job about the pharmacy job. When he was like, it's supposed to be in and out, and I'm just so sorry. I just had to beat her up. Like, really, Gary? Like, you couldn't just take your money and go? He was just, when he said to Wick, he was just like, yeah, I had to do it. Like, I just had to. Whatever.
No, you didn't.
Exactly.
Stupid.
He's so,
And then he's bitching, complaining because he wants the pills. He still wants to get more pain pills. Like, we can't get rid of this guy.
I know, and clearly we still can't, apparently.
Yes, yes.
Didn't just last week when he was robbing the pharmacy, I thought he took a big bottle of the pills.
He did.
So did he just go through
like
it so
chewing
quickly?
those things like candy.
That's true.
He has like a broken arm, right?
Yeah.
So he needs a lot of painkiller. And
I never saw somebody choke down a armful of pills though like that.
No. But okay, and my problem with Gary, again, similarly with Van Ness, is that he's such a cheesy bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'll turn on you then. You know, like I feel like it's a joke sometimes, the things he says, and I'm sorry, I'm harping on the writing, but it takes me out of it. The scenes with him. He's so cheesy.
Well, I mean, I just don't know how hard it could be to locate this guy. You've got a person out there. They've got a working cell phone, so that you can play around with GPS. He has a broken arm, very easily to be recognized. Very easy. He's in a little cabin, which is remote, yet there's like a fireplace. Like, he's living there. Like, it's amazing to me that this guy has never been caught by this sheriff who's like been on his case.
Yeah, exactly.
A hound dog.
Yeah, whose cabin is he even staying at?
Yeah. Oh, I think his grandmother's, they said. It was like 10 miles outside
wouldn't
of town.
anyone like go check there? I would think.
Wouldn't you check like family and friends and be like, are you keeping him? Like, when it was last time you saw him, like, we're keeping a report. He's a wanted man, like the usual.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
and especially 10 miles outside of town, like, really? You could just drive right there and see him. But
exactly.
I guess
unless it's
town.
like on the Native American reservation, which was one of the things why they couldn't cross over previously. But I wouldn't think you'd be able to just have some random residential house on a reservation.
See, they should cover that. I want to know, because that would make a difference. Since, like you said, they've already established that rule. Okay, that's something that we could, perhaps buy into a little bit more easily. So let's keep going and talking about these guys. Gary and Billy and Hap had their scene in the hospital where they kind of like changed their tune quite a bit, very quickly.
So quickly. And I get, like, when serious stuff happens, life and death situations, you can forget about little issues and put the past behind you. But it seemed so easy for, last week we see Billy like, I'm going to take down Hap if it's the last thing I do. And he's like, oh, I'm going to blackmail you about Jules and all that. And then he doesn't have the balls to actually do it. And then, but he's still got all this fire against Hap, and he's all about taking him down one way or the other. And then this week he's like, anything I can do to thank you for flying in this surgeon, I'll do it. He's like, work for me. He's like, okay,
very easy. A good deal, quickly made. Probably not.
How did this just happen?
I mean, I guess like someone could argue tragedy brings people together, but use your head.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that too. I'm glad Emma, somebody called that out, because it was so obvious. You're like, duh, it's a trick. It's all a trap.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it was Hap that said, I could really use your help. And it's like, oh, wait, what? I looked at you, Lauren, I was like, wait, are we watching the same show?
I know, we're like, this isn't make sense with what was happening last week, and clearly it's baloney.
Yeah,
exactly. But I'm like, where is the common sense with Billy? I know maybe his mind was in another place, because his wife was badly injured, but really, you couldn't just say, well, give me some time after this happens and I will get back to you. Like, oh, okay, I'll come work for you. I know you did me dirty and stole my land, but sure, put me on the payroll. Like, come on.
Yeah, you'd think you'd learn at this point not to be so impulsive.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Like, when do you learn that? If not
He's
now,
never
when?
going to learn it. Goodness.
I mean, not only that, like, shouldn't that be a conversation at this point he should have with his wife and put that on the back burner? My wife is, like, fighting for her life / recovering at this point.
Seriously.
Like, we just go through a tragedy before we make any moves. Like, don't even come to me in the hospital, staying outside my wife's hospital room trying to make a deal with me. I'd be like, get the hell out of here.
I know.
Right?
I mean, he's kidding me right now? Really? Like, that's what I'd be like. But no, Billy's just...
No, Billy's a little sucker.
I know.
Oh man, all I can say is there must be the magic of television. Because in real life, that wouldn't be happening.
Yeah. I mean, Don Johnson's a charming guy, or Hap Briggs, right? Both of them.
So then we learn that Cody does lose her baby after all, and I thought it was kind of a nice scene that they had. They shared a good scene when they were laying in the hospital bed together, and it wasn't like we had to have like a doctor come in and say, "I'm sorry, I have bad news." Like it was like the way the way that scene was written was actually kind of a nice moment where it was revealed and they had like a, good couples thing. I like that. So before we go any further, let's do our cheers and jeers segment of this episode. A little bit of highs and lows, things that caught our attention throughout the episode. I'll start first with my cheers. And I will give those cheers to the wardrobe in this episode. I liked a lot. Carla looked good. Even AJ, I liked all of his shirts. He wears a lot of tight-fitting clothes.
Yeah, a lot of plaid.
But I would wear a lot of what he has. I like his clothes a lot, and of course, Carla looked good.
Oh yeah, and we got to see a lot of her closet too. Liked it. I also loved Jules's like little bra thing. That's cute.
I like the heels too, and she went for very sexy.
Heels. Yes, definitely.
So cheers to the wardrobe in this episode, and a lot of it even took place in a hospital. So I mean, to say that it was pretty good. And my cheers go to the character of Lacey. I'm 6 episodes in, and she just does not gel to me at all. I find her to be very fickle, and I don't find her to be a dynamic character. She's got a really tough attitude, but it's not like a rough and tough. It's just like, I'm with all these people.
There's so many boos happening.
They're not into her at all.
So many boos. They hate her, too.
Our live studio audience at AFTERBUZZ agrees. But no, to me, it's just she's got like a bad attitude about everything. I'm not into her.
She comes off as pretty immature sometimes. Yeah. And we know she's the little sister, in the family, so that kind of can make sense, but she's also the one who's like got her act together. So when she can be so like hot and cold, and it just feels weird.
Very hot and cold, even with AJ. I'm like, but I did like her scene. I'll give you some credit. I like the scene she had with Wick. It was a good like brother-sister moment. Yeah. That was good. But the character itself is just, I don't know who she is. Yeah. Like, I don't really know.
Yeah, I agree.
Those are my cheers and jeers.
All right, my turn then. Okay, my cheers. I liked Gary getting impaled. And because I'm tired of Gary's character in the grand scheme of things, yes. But also because getting impaled, that's gotta suck. And it's hard to recover from. So I love like a good like solid impalement through the stomach. Right. It's very like Final Destination to me. Yes, and so that's why I dug that a lot. Sorry to be really morbid. Halloween weekend, I guess. There you go. And then my jeers, goes to Van Ness. Come on, like those cheesy lines. Like, let's spice it up, Van Ness. Like, be a better bad guy.
I liked her coat. I like the wardrobe. I like the coat she had on, but
she's like such a like frumpy mom, and I'm not scared of her with those lines. So I need to feel a little more intimidated by her.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Okay, so my cheers are when Carla and Jules met, of course, when they met in Jules' apartment. I was hurrahing for that.
Yeah, me too. I love that scene.
I love that, how they came together and they just... Carla just let her have it, but like in a very classy way. So I really appreciate her doing that, but still like giving her the side eye when she kind of did that thing with the wine. And she was like, "Oh, I can't take your wine," you know. It just said it in her face. I live for that one. And then
it's true. That was a classy moment. I think that's a good point. She did it with class. I think that's why we liked it so much.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
She didn't really have to say anything. She just the wine, the look. I'm gone. And Jules could feel all of that.
Oh, it was like dripping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever that word is I'm looking for.
And then my gears would have to be when Wick pulled out the gun on Gary. I was kind of like, Wick, do you have to go through this? Like, you can't just set him up again, you know? You can't just wire yourself and call the cops on him. Like, you have to bring the gun. And then Billy just happens to pop up like, "Oh, I followed you here." I couldn't get with it. I wasn't feeling that scene, like, at all.
Well, that makes for a great transition, because that's exactly where I was going next in our conversation.
Yes.
So yeah, let's talk about that, where like they were fighting over the gun, and I was like, "Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
someone's gonna get shot."
Yeah, I thought someone was gonna get accidentally shot.
And
for
then
real.
Billy, I was waiting for Billy. I was like almost waiting for like the stage manager to be like, so that he could like, you know, walk in. It was very well timed, but it was a good, cool moment. But Gary, the biggest mess, smashing his body into that glass window. I'm like,
well, and here's the thing: if it was so. This is when Cody IDs Gary, and then the two guys who are in the room both peace out. Like, you know, Billy follows Wick. Where is, and someone in chat even mentioned this too, why wasn't the sheriff or police or anyone else kind of taking note of what these two guys were doing and following them? Easy trail right up to Mr. Gary there.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think that they'd even have Wick followed at this point, because he's such a suspect. And I don't understand why they don't check this guy's phone or like subpoena him or something. Like,
because there's simple cops in a small town.
Yeah, I guess.
It'd be too much, big time.
But I mean, like, his name comes up, like, on the phone. Like, it's, like, comes up on the screen.
Yeah, full name.
So it's, like, you know. It's like, have you heard from the sheriff was like, have you heard from him lately? Yeah, he just, like, got a voicemail from the guy.
Yeah,
like, it's like, but yeah, small. I guess we'll blame it on the small town.
It's only, like, two cops, right? Like, what is the other guy doing? We've only seen the sheriff, and then the sheriff's little partner. Like, they could have the partner follow Wick this whole time.
It seems like, I mean, this is clearly like the biggest case that they've got going on. It seems like they should be able to figure things out a little more quickly.
Besides somebody stealing the pies every Wednesday or something like that, like, this is the biggest case they have.
But I thought that scene, it was pretty funny because, of course, Gary's gonna escape. Like, we've seen him escape now like 3 or 4 different times. He just weasels his way out of situations pretty easily, which, like, good for him for being scrappy and getting out of these pickles. And then they're chasing him through the woods, and he like tries to hide behind some tiny trees. Like, all this, like, no way.
All dressed in black, like.
Yeah, in the middle of the daytime. It had some good intensity, and I like that they didn't have to actually go through with shooting him, because I think you know, in Wick's conversation with Lacey and in his conversation with Billy, even, of crossing that line, you know, he's like, I've already crossed that line, and I'm like on the dark side pretty much, and if I could do one more really bad thing to start over, like, you know, he's committed to doing this, which is terrible. You know, he hasn't killed anybody yet, true. So he has kind of decided that he was going to go down that route to make things better, which I think is a tough decision. So I'm glad we didn't have to see it go there for him and for his character's sake, but I did like that they left him there.
Yeah, I love that. I didn't like that scene where Gary got away through the window. I was low-key laughing because I was like, really? Like, it was so unexpected. It was like
way too easy, right?
Just toss yourself out the,
it's like,
out the window.
I know, so easy. There's like no like furniture in front of it. Like it's like, you know, and not only that, like he lands perfectly on the grass. There's no like,
with
glass
his
in
like
your
one good
head.
arm.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't you be like, oh crap, my broken arm? I just broke my fall on it.
Well, he just chewed up a bunch of like Vicodin or whatever, so he's probably just riding high. But I think they should have shot that scene at night. Because they could have been looking for him. He would have been all dressed in black. They could have had flashlights or something, and then they could have moved the flashlight on him and saw the impalement.
Yeah, it would have upped the stakes a little bit at least.
It's a little simple to do it the way it was done. It wasn't very like,
and I guess there wasn't a real reason why it needed to be during the daytime, you know? Because it's not like, timing-wise, there wasn't anything significantly important going on during the day. So it could have very easily been shot at night. I agree with you. That would have made it a little more intense.
Right, yeah. So Billy, we think he kind of like made the right decision by saying, all right, bye, like leaving him there.
Yeah.
So
I thought Billy was going to do something dumb, like do the right thing, which in that situation would not have been the good thing to do, like call 911, and which I guess we don't know what happens next week, how Gary is taken to the hospital, but I'm hoping Billy didn't like have his conscience take over and decide to like call for help.
No.
I could see that happening.
I can too. Billy.
Well, one thing, Lauren, you pointed out was with Gary being in the woods, you were hoping someone would grab his phone. Because that phone has all the truth on it.
Because they didn't go catch him, and he's down there with his phone. Like, grab that phone out of his pocket and smash it.
Yeah, because it has the evidence, and he can call.
Or unless Gary called. Hey,
use my coordinates. I need some help.
Stick through my gut.
Yeah, because Gary dies hard.
Well,
if at
maybe.
all. Yeah, if at all. So what else happened? I mean, after all that, I want to comment briefly on the chemistry between Billy and Wick. These two actors have a little something going on.
A budding bromance we saw definitely all episode. I kind of like it though, because they have that same like both wanting Hap's approval. Like even if Billy's like, I hate Hap, you know, he still wants Hap's approval like too, and wants to be mentored by him. And of course, Wick does like his whole life. So they've got that shared angst, if you will. And I liked them kind of bonding. I think Wick needs like some friends.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now that his wife or his girlfriend is banging his dad again. Yeah, he could use somebody in his life.
I know he needs somebody like just express his feelings. He's just lonely, I think. Wick. Yeah. He just wants to talk, and you know, he can't talk to his sister about stuff. He definitely can't really talk to Jules about anything. So he's kind of looking towards Billy, and Billy, they're so different but so much alike. Like they have the same thing. I mean, I guess that's why it's called Blood and Oil, because they both have the same passion of blood, and they're talking about oil. So
yeah, I thought that Billy should have remained angry with Wick longer because of the situation and how and Wick's knowledge of it all this time. Because
I don't think Billy knows the full extent of it. He knows that he knew where Gary was. That's like all he knows, that he knew where Gary was. And so when he finds Wick at Gary's, he's like, you know, Wick's like, oh, I'm trying to do the right thing and like fix this issue for you because of the whole situation. He doesn't know like the whole picture.
You're right.
So you know, when he's like pissed because Wick knew where Gary was all along and kept it to himself, you know, I think he can get over that a bit more easily because Wick was there, you know, trying to seek out revenge, I guess, in his mind for the situation with Cody.
Right, I get that.
Which isn't the full picture. But no, I love their little bromance. He's like, we promise we can't ever turn on each other, and we keep this little secret. Pinky
they're
swear.
Like sharing their drink.
I know.
They had a moment where Wick like moved his eyes and looked over, and there is something happening.
I know. I like it. We'll see. I don't think it's a trick. I can see that happening where like they're gonna turn on each other, use it against one another in some way, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I hope it doesn't. I like them forming a little alliance.
Yeah, they should if they were smart, because one of them has an in with Hap. When one's on the in, the other's on the out, so they can kind of keep each other going. And then, of course, there was the moment where, oh my God, it was the older man, Emma's grandfather, Clifton. Thank you, yes. Where, he was resourceful from his hospital bed. And I like that we see this character, because he's always thinking.
Yeah.
So he placed the phone call, and it looks like the wife... The ex-wife is going to come on.
I know, which guest star Lolita, how do I say her last name? Davidovich, however you say that. But she's been in tons of stuff. I love her, so I think she'll do a great job as the ex-Mrs. Hap Briggs.
I'm excited to see where that's going to go, bringing in Hap's ex. I'm like, when he placed the phone call, I was like, hopefully it's something good. And then when the receptionist said, I've got the guy on the line who's been trying to call you. I was like, oh, yes.
Yeah. And this woman definitely has probably a good divorce settlement. So she's got plenty of
Well, and I'm
money.
curious because Clifton overheard the conversation between Billy and Hap with the whole job and that sort of situation. So I wonder if now she's going to try and have Billy be her man on the inside, inside Hap's organization and what that's going to turn into in some way.
Well, that could lead to another whole bunch of stuff. That could lead to a whole other season of the espionage and all of that. So I'm curious to see how that plays out, because we did cover episode 6, and we didn't mention it last week, but you probably know by now, but the episode order was cut to 10 episodes. So we have some lot of ground to cover in a short period of time.
Yeah, which does makes tonight's and the next few episodes that we do have they're going to be real juicy, I think, because we're trying to cram a lot more into less space.
Very exciting, though.
They've set up a lot. Even if you think of the AJ stuff, that's still developing, So there's a lot to be played out. So as we think about this, let's move forward and predict.
Ooh, okay.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
Who wants to go first?
Okay.
I feel like you had one already. I need to think of mine a little bit more.
I'll go. I predict Hap's ex-wife is going to take, or at least try to take, some of the company. If not a quarter, maybe half.
Oh.
I think she's coming in swinging, guns blazing. I also predict that Jules is only sleeping with Hap to protect Wick. I believe that Jules is going to protect him because I think she actually does love Wick.
How does that make sense? Because Hap will tell?
Yeah, because when she found the mask, I just think she was like, okay, if I tell Hap's got to tell the police, because we already saw Hap go to the police. I feel like he has something against his own son.
Oh, but I feel like that's too much of a roundabout way to get back at Jules.
That's true. I don't think Jules is sleeping with Hap to stay with him, though.
But yeah,
I think Jules really likes Hap.
I feel like it's something there where Jules, because she's already been saying throughout those seasons, I'm trying to get over you. But something about tonight where it was in her eye, I don't think she really likes him anymore. I think she's trying to protect somebody or something.
But there has to be some significance to her finding that ski mask. And maybe the significance is that she saw it, she realized that Wick lied to her, and then she's like, screw him. I'm going to go screw the father.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I really don't. I don't have any intel. But that, could be.
Could be. But yeah, that's about it. Oh, and I also think Cody is going to come out pretty nice. I hope, towards the end of the season, I hope they have another baby, or at least try.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be just all right.
Well, I'm really curious to see what happens with her finding Gary, who's still breathing.
Yeah.
What's going to happen next? She recognizes him, and I wonder, I predict that she's not going to be able to stay away, and she's going to go in there and, try to chat.
I can see that for sure.
Can see that.
For sure. Oh gosh. Okay, so we see in the sneak peek for next week, Annie Briggs comes in, Gary's still alive and taken to the hospital, and Wick confronts Jules. So I think that Carla is going to find out something about them not being done, like she told Jules, end it, sort of thing. I think she's going to see something, hear something, whatever. She's going to know, and she's going to tell Wick, and that's how Wick knows and confronts Jules. That's my big ballsy prediction.
I can see that.
I like that, yeah.
Or the buddy-buddy stuff we've seen with Billy and Wick, and Billy's going to say something.
Ooh.
Those are my guesses for...
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Homewreckerness.
Yeah, because they've bonded, so he could be looking out for him and say, look, I know something. Yeah, because... it's true.
Oh, sorry. Somebody in chat said she hopes Cody and Billy break up so Billy can be with Emma.
Oh. No.
Oh, no. Oh, and Cody to unplug Gary. Look at these predictions, ladies in chat.
Those who must watch soaps.
My gosh, I know. This is so dramatic. I don't want them to break up.
Me neither.
I like the idea of the unplugging of Gary.
Yeah.
Oh, that fool will probably open his eyes and be like, what?
And I'll be like, hey, get out of here, girl.
That guy, he's crazy. Well, you can keep the conversation going with us online. Of course, tweet us your thoughts. Leave your comments below. Give us a thumbs up and rate us on iTunes. Where can we find you online?
You guys can find me everywhere online, especially Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, and Twitter at Lauren Salaun. That's LaurenSalaun.
Yay. And you can find me, Howard III, on Instagram and Twitter at Howard III. That's Howard3RD. And of course, my website, howard3rd.com.
Of course. And you guys can find me over on Twitter at Grants__rants. And you can find my podcast, Grants Rants Hollywood Talk, on Stitcher and iTunes. For Blood and Oil Episode 6, Convergence, that'll do it for us at AFTERBUZZ TV.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.